So good evening, good morning, good afternoon, coming live from Fire per Heart, children of God. It's been a minute. I've erased a lot, and there was a couple hot moments. I hope I can get some sort of idea of the water that's still gathering on his side. It's been about 2 weeks. John and I finally got this hooked in. Technically, he did all the technical work. The other thing is I get to do a review and call in the well company because they misdiagnosed. Tried to tell us we had to buy all this equipment because our pump was broke and all this. It's literally like everyone was worked around it. Now it is collapsing, which it's because it's sucking out. So we have to get these cages. So I don't know if this was doing this last night, but so he ran all of this on his own. Most I did was assist and in the basement when he told me what I needed to do with the outlet and the inlet. So Al somehow had access to people say, he doesn't have access to the well. Yes, because the well's over here by his property. We were gone extended periods of time, and next thing we knew, we lost flow of this. Now we're using the old well, the pump, and the pump and the motor to pump the water through that we put in. And see, if you want to show you, you can't see it, but there's a bunch of water gathered on his side. Now, apparently they told him he had to put this fence down closer to the ground because he had it where if you have a mower, you would clip the side. This is the fence that the Frank had hit last year. We still thought it was set up, but we couldn't believe anyone would go that far. And he apparently was threatening several months later to sue Frank. We don't know Frank. We was just a new acquaintance. But apparently he was still threatening him that he was going to sue him. So this is a bunch of water over there. So I don't believe he called 811 for digging, and he started to do a line across where he has this one. And now you see where that, and then we had lost full flow. So this would be our well. But see, now that we know that it's the access point is so close to him, and he sprays pesticides and chemicals regularly, it's better that we just go to our own storage. What else? So we got those bins very cheap, praise the Lord. We have to get what's called the cage that you put around them, and then we have to find like a lock point to keep the water protected. I may need to go open the lid on that. So we have running water again. It was about 2 weeks without. It was really a struggle. Because we knew that it wasn't the equipment, yet the well, no one would help in Township. Nobody would help in the water department. Nobody would check out his side of the event as to why, when he was tampering around with all of that, when we were gone for over 8 hours one day, because that's the longest we've left the property. Lo and behold, we start losing pressure on our water. Nobody will help. I start getting frustrated, right, naturally, because I know that he did something because he made a bunch of stupid calls to us, and they were stupid. It was almost like half guilt. Like weird. So then he started calling the police on me again. So I called him a bunch of names. Yeah, I did. So I knew he fucking fucked with our water source. He was sexually harassing me yesterday in front of my husband. He wouldn't let us finish the piping. His name is Allen Ray Begley. He also comes up under pretenses of 2 potential major crime events. And as to why he is targeting us this heavily, it is beyond me. So we had the state troopers here. We called the state troopers. He called the other cops the day before. I was frustrated watching all this go on, seeing my husband having to work his ass off, us trying to problem shoot. So then he's, lo and behold, we're trying to get this done, and he's out there yesterday with his shirt off with his new victim. Now she's almost fully sleeved, so that means he's probably abusing her already physically. Secondly, I am more concerned about where Jill went. When we think about it, she kind of disappeared last year, and you can't find nothing on her where she may have went, if she's safe, if she's not safe. There had been a bunch of trailers, and he was acting very violent last year. So his name is Allen, R-B-E-G-L-E-Y. I'm only doing this because it's very obvious at this point that he's in with stuff with crooked cops. Now, I found one court case affidavit description of a pretty disturbing situation, but I don't believe that would have been the same man. What John found was that it was someone that had done hard time for transportations of illicit drugs, Oxycontins, things of that nature. Now, we're again, it's very hard to always pinpoint until we would have actual access to proper legal stuff. So, come here, Hip, come here. And So we're on that right now. Yeah, I got to stay quiet, but I wanted him to admit what he did to the well. He knew all about the well. He knows more about our property than we know about our property. So he's not going to stop. He most likely is going to disrupt everything I try to get done this summer. And so now we have to find a way to protect, cage, and lock up these bins. We found this water supply. It's inexpensive. It comes from another well in another area in the county. And I'm really grateful. The water is good. And then what we would be doing is bringing home purified water for cooking and drinking for us and the dogs. But what else was set up? It's just been nonstop with him. And he comes out with a gusto in the spring. Same kind of behavior, the malignant, the very scary, threatening, just like Brentwood. I tried to look up the address to find out what is going on here. Like, he uses part of our property. He did a setup too where he took some of my compost off my property, threw it onto his property. I thought oh my God, what did I do? Throw back a few too many? No. So he had someone on our property again and then tried to act like with the police that I was going to hurt his dogs. Which I think at this point, hopefully some of them are realizing. But this man is highly dangerous at this point. I mean, I don't know how else to word this. I can't get an exact age on him either. And so when I found this one court case, and then John told me about this other thing with this transport of these illicit drugs, like scary stuff from 2 or 3 other states, and then he apparently did some time. The thing I found was highly alarming, but like I said, I don't think it's him. But I have heard in situations with pedophile rings and stuff is, they'll use one as escape. So if he had stuff on pedophile. This case was very serious. It was in another county though, but I just don't think it's lining up properly. Some of the stuff does, like the names, it's kind of an age bracket frame, but yet those have been shifted. But this would have been such a major problem where this happened with minors, young girls being regularly molested and sexually assaulted. And the time frames don't really line up, but John and I were discussing last night that they could shift all that because for one, if it involves, he would have blackmail on other police that were also active in drugging girls and raping them. And so that would be our new neighbor. That if this is correlated to these two things. Because I'm telling you what, he is aggressive regularly with me, and then I'm not supposed to get loud. He will not conflict resolution anything. He immediately calls more crooked cops. He will lie instantly on the phone to them. He does not take accountability. And he's in the range of between the 50s and 60 years old. He has been on our property more than once. He was out snooping when we were bringing in the water. So apparently they were thinking we wouldn't figure out that we didn't have to buy thousands of dollars worth of new equipment because we're using that equipment and this water is flowing completely fine. So I know that somehow he said he used to have well water. He went over to city. He's fiddling around over there. A bunch of water's gathering. And not one agency or group would admit that this is a potential possibility. It doesn't mean that it's exact. It doesn't mean that it's for sure thing. But geez, his behavior really got erratic, didn't it? It's a shallow well. He would have had connected to this. That house was built in the 40s. This was built in the 1800s. So there would be access point probably. And the barns were probably once part of this property. Just trying to get all that out really quickly. Like I said, Allen Ray Begley, Begley, I believe. But once again, we saw where the one account of the drug trafficking was, and then he did a little bit of hard time, was a Ray Allen. So that name was shifted. But then see, this name is quite similar, but a slight different spelling up in this Newaygo County. But that's probably a far-fetched. I'm probably just way off course there because he's just so scary. He just truly is. I don't know how else to discuss it. So the way the property is set up is that he has to go out of his way to come and bother us in that little corridor, all the way behind his barns. And he just had to do his fence the day John and I are trying to troubleshoot, figure out the pipeline. John did an excellent job for his first time. And what we did is it was just like, we can't trust this guy. We obviously can't trust if our well is safe because they went this far, right? So that's just the update for all of this fun out here now. And I looked up names and things and all the correlation of literally like associates of associates, because the town was once that small. But the thing is he isn't technically a full native of this county. Says he bought the house in 2015. In some instances, it said 20 years ago, but no, it says that I looked up all the property because I have no choice at this point, right? I mean, he's up in our grill. He's gonna keep pestering. He's gonna keep pulling this shit. He had her doing this crap with the dogs, knowing darn well our water was out, to keep my dogs upset, getting the females over too far, the females coming over on our property in heat, and just causing complete disruption while she would bend over with her ass towards me. In 1 year, she never said a civil hello. And where did Jill go? I gotta go.